We'll call the regular monthly meeting of the Johnson County Fiscal Court to order at this time. First item is pledge of allegiance. Commissioner Adams, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is the approval of the minutes of the November 12th meeting, our regular meeting. You have the minutes before you, or is there any suggested changes, corrections, or recommendations from the court?
Move to approve as presented.
Have a motion from Commissioner Daniel to approve the minutes of the November 12th meeting. I need a second. Second by Commissioner Adams. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the approval of monthly bills. You have those bills in your packet. I know you've had a chance to scan that other, oh, okay, you've all looked at that.
Right.
Those are a few bills that came in after the agenda was prepared, so.
Motion for the bill.
A motion by Commissioner Gamble to approve the payment of the monthly bills.
Second.
And a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next item are transfers from the fiscal court. You will note that it's the $40,000 monthly assessment for the jail fund. And since this probably is going to be my last meeting in the sitting at the chair here at the fiscal court, and I made a speech almost every single month on how the jail bill is eating us alive and continues to do so. And I don't have an answer to it. If I did, I would certainly offer it. But everybody across the state of Kentucky is in the same boat we are. And I don't have the answers, but I'm not so sure that legalizing marijuana and doing all this other stuff for recreational purposes is serving the greater good of the people. I mean, that's just a side comment. No, there's a whole lot more things, more issues that's more important than that. But I just don't think that we found the path that we need to travel yet, because every time we pass legislation that indicates, they say, to reduce the crowding in the jails, within 6 months to a year, we're even more crowded than what we were. So I don't have the answer, but I hope some creative guy somewhere is working on it and it pans out for him. Having said that, we're going to have to pay it anyway because state law requires us to. So I would like a motion to approve the payment of the or to make the transfers.
I'll make that motion, make the transfer from general to
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams
Second.
to transfer $40,000 from the general fund to the jail fund, and that's seconded by Commissioner Daniel. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is an amendment to the sheriff's budget. An ordinance relating to the annual budget amendment thereof, whereas the county of Johnson's realized unbudgeted receipts from CLEF, which is a federal program, in the amount of $4,159. School resource officer, November for $2,407. Sale of surplus vehicles, $7,660. I know what the CLEF is and what the school resource is. How many vehicles, is this sale,
I don't know anything about it, Judge.
we don't know how many vehicles are involved?
They never contacted me about the sale of vehicles.
Well, they sure didn't contact me. I would at least want to know how much, what we're selling and how much we're getting for it. We have any information with this, Addie? Do we have any information with
No, I
this?
don't. She just brought it up to me. She didn't go over it with me at all.
Is it advertised
Pardon?
or did they advertise it?
I don't know.
I did see it in the paper,
Pardon?
It's in the paper.
yeah.
You didn't know how many vehicles did they advertise, you know? I think we need to do due diligence anyway on the thing. We at least need to ask the question about what did we sell and how much was it worth and how much did we get? Mike, do you see a problem with us approving the CLEF transfer and or amendment and the school resource amendment, but withhold the sale of surplus vehicles until we've had time to get some information? And
Yeah, obviously you can do that. The only problem is that you'll have to come back on the third issue.
well, what do we make
Because the fiscal court, sheriff's office closes their account out at the end of the year. So you'd have to come back and approve it, not approve it.
well, do you think we ought to ask the question?
If the court wants to ask the question, I don't know why I couldn't. But if you reserve that last item, you're gonna have to come back and approve it or not approve it.
We can't do it contingent upon,
What would you be contingent upon?
we'll ask the road foreman to look around, see what how many vehicles were sold and how much is the value, book value, or a reasonable price for the vehicles.
Well, I think it would be probably, I don't know if that's fair to Willard, but maybe it would be more prudent to just get some more detail in writing.
Yeah, anything, I don't care what we have, I just,
I don't know what vehicles are worth or whether it's fair to Willard to put him on the burden of determining appropriate amount of income for a vehicle.
well, if it's one vehicle, that's one thing. If it's 3 vehicles, it's another thing. If it's 10 vehicles, it's sure something else.
Well, I understand completely.
And that's all I'm,
I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is, if you want to just approve 1 and 2 and come back later for the last one, a special meeting. Because they're close their fiscal budget out at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And if I think right, they're closing any revenue stream coming in after the 15th, I think, because of the auditors coming in. That's my understanding.
closing when, the 15th?
We're taking down any new tax revenue, they're taking any new taxes in effective December 15th, I think.
That's what they're advertising on the radio.
And they're doing that because the auditors have to come in and close books.
Maybe was that their salary?
I would assume if they were ever put on in the first place. I just don't know anything about what vehicles they were. I wasn't privy to this.
How many bids do they have on it? I mean, I'm just searching for general information here. Let's pass that to later in the meeting. We'll revisit that before we get out of here. Okay, the next item is transfers from the sheriff's office. We have $3,000 transferred from vehicle maintenance to account code 015015563 postage. Is that what you mentioned the other day, Mike? Somebody said something about postage.
Well, sure, not me. I don't really have anything to do with their budget. I mean, they don't consult.
Well, no, I'm talking about postage that was, somehow was handled, didn't charge their budget for it in years past. Sally, do you?
This is postage to mail the tax bills.
Okay, that's what I knew somebody. Did you and I talk about this, or did I hear? I heard something from somebody. Okay, so this appears to be justified, all right?
Postage for tax bills, yeah.
Now, further question, I'd recommend that we approve the request for transfers for the sheriff in the amount of $3,000.
So moved.
Have a motion, I need a second.
Second.
And a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, transfers for the clerk. Clerk's requesting a transfer of $1,300 from line item 01510-999 to line item 01510-551. That's just a straight line transfer. So,
That's into the refund line.
Pardon?
It's going into the refund line.
okay.
Make that motion.
Have a motion to approve the request for transfer of $1,300 from line item 5010999 to 5010551 by the clerk.
Second.
Order.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Jesse Skaggs to speak on the black lung resolution. Yes, would you come up, please, and identify yourself?
I'm actually Becky Skaggs. I'm Jesse's mother. Jessie apologizes. She's on her way home from a meeting. And
Wait just a moment. Ronnie, can you check that mic and see if that mic's working?
Well, it's not. Is there I don't see where it's turned on anywhere. It's not that kind of a mic. It's turned on from wherever the,
Turned on.
where's the sound system? Is there
It's back here, but I don't,
It may be on, but I don't know.
I tried that, it's not working.
I
Yeah,
can speak
it's not
loudly.
working.
I'm a retired teacher.
Well, if you can just speak a little louder,
I will.
probably against your normal voice level, but we do have technical difficulties, it said.
Right. I'm Becky Staggs. The Kentuckians for the Commonwealth have presented a resolution that they're asking for you to approve and adopt tonight. This resolution is going to be sent to federal senators and congressmen, urging them to pass legislation to protect the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund. By the end of 2018, this fund is set, the excise tax that funds it is set to be slashed by about 55%, which is going to cause it to go into insolvency. So we're urging fiscal courts around the congressional district to pass the resolution to make sure that the disability fund is still there. And also part of this resolution is to pass legislation that will release money from the federal Abandoned Landmines Act to help with economic development in our area. There's millions of dollars that are there and I think there would be probably, let me think, let me see what it says here. Anyway, there's probably about $12 million that would come to Johnson County to help with economic growth. It would provide jobs for those people who help with the development of reclamation of the abandoned lands. And also the last part of this is to ensure that the pension plan for United Mine Workers, the retired mine workers, that their pensions are funded and that they would receive their benefits, or their families would receive their benefits. So there are three parts to this resolution, but the biggest part is an urgency to pass some legislation that protects the benefits for those with black lung disabilities.
How long is this, you said it's a nationwide effort, or is it just statewide?
It's a statewide effort for us.
Okay.
I don't know if there's some action going on, across the country, but I know that this is a statewide effort in Kentucky.
Okay, now, did you say an excise tax is about to go?
There's a tax, that's how the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund is funded. There's an
And that's about to be slashed?
It's about to be slashed by about 55%. It comes from, it's a tax on coal production.
Have you made any calculations on the numbers of it? How much of a cut that would cause?
I don't know the figures. I just know the percentage. It'll be about half of what they're bringing into the fund now. Would be about half that. If something is not done to keep the tax at its current or even to an increased level.
So how long has that fund been in place so far, do you know?
It's been decades and decades. I know that there was some legislation that was introduced back in the mid-'80s that this cut is a consequence of that legislation, and it was set to expire. The current level was set to expire at the end of this year, which we're here at this point now, and we need to urge them to keep the funding at its current or an increased level.
What kind of, if I might ask, what kind of reception? I'm sure you have lobbyists out talking to the legislators now. Are you getting good reception from them? Do they see this as an issue that's good to get behind, that they think they got a chance to do it? Or?
I think so, yes. I know especially Congressman Hal Rogers is on board with this. And Senator McConnell says he won't let it get to a crisis point, but I think we are at that crisis point. So we want to present these resolutions to urge them to take action now.
Well, I think that everybody in this room, pretty much, and anybody from Eastern Kentucky and even Western Kentucky now, understands what black lung means to those people that get it. I remember I lived with my grandmother, and my grandfather died when I was 7. And of course, black lung, they didn't know anything about. They said he had tuberculosis. And it wasn't until several years later that they reapplied and were approved that they found out that how many people were impacted by underground mining. And I'm sure we've all seen the stories in the movies, early filming, shows miners coming out in black. You couldn't see anything except almost the whites of their eyes. And it's obviously a dangerous environment and atmosphere to work in. I don't know what you can do, what more you can do, other than to trying to keep up the effort and trying to push a little more
Right.
to get your elected representatives to stand up and try to be counted in this thing.
And if you
I admire you for your efforts. I certainly would recommend to this court that we, if you would kindly, can I see your ordinance? Do you have that with you, or
I have a copy that I've taken notes on.
okay, let me look at what you've got. You want us to sign this today?
Do you all have a better copy? But she can do it, because I was writing on that one, and it's not, I want to be signed, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, that's all right. You can bring another one in, or mail it in.
She can bring one tomorrow. If you all adopt this tonight, it will be the 15th fiscal court to do this, to approve the resolution. Do you have
That's-
copies of that?
Yeah,
Okay, if there's one in my packet,
yeah.
Okay, there should
we
be.
will, I think, Mike, we can pass this, can't we, absent any,
No, it's just a resolution, but
okay,
it's not an ordinance, it's not, I don't know why you couldn't.
okay, I recommend that we support this effort, and that we let it be known that Johnson County Fiscal Court has signed on to this. We think it's worthy and very worthwhile, and I'd be more than happy to sign this resolution on your behalf.
Thank you very much, I appreciate
Okay,
it.
I need, I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Gamble. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And we will take that action now.
Thank you.
You can drop off, can you put your address on this here, and we will get you a copy out tomorrow. Put your name and address and give it to that lady over there. Next item on the agenda is surplus property issue at the Van Leer Historical Society. As many of you know, back many, many years ago, when CNO started pulling the rails out of eastern Kentucky and Van Leer especially, and a lot of the deeds that were taken in the construction of those types of projects provided that the property would be returned or restored to the property owners. And then a lot of the property that was not done, I guess, in fee simple, they gave it back to, Van Leer used to be an incorporated town in eastern Kentucky. It had a mayor and town marshal at least, I don't know how. But it was a town, a thriving little town, and had several hundred employees or population up there. People worked in the coal mines. And when CNO finally left, they actually left that property in the name of the city, that roadbed that the trains travel on the track. And then when they dissolved the city of Van Leer, and the assets were transferred to Johnson County. Then a lot of people, just before I started in office, our county attorney came over one day and told me that we had a lady over in his office that was interested in having the property transferred back to her family's name. And in essence, give that back, the easements that they gave to the railroad. And we've been doing that over a period of several years now. And I think Mike has been contacted by Donnie Whitten.
I have no good judge.
And Mike, why don't you go ahead, is there anything?
Well, the original deed from the city of Van Leer into the county was in 1996. And since that time, like you said, there have been various deeds come out of that to the adjacent property owners, or at least since we've been here, we've always been taking the policy that it needs to be to the adjacent property owners. So Donnie Whitten came in on behalf of the Van Leer Historical Society and asked that we get this deed for this particular piece of property. And I said, well, in order to do that, I need some kind of a description. And so then Jim Trammell, which is a member of the Historical Society and also a civil engineer, came in and brought me a description. And it consists of 0.12 acres in that particular area. So it is adjacent property to the Historical Society. And I told him that I would bring it up before the fiscal court and see if they'd be willing to sign that particular small area. I think it's in front of the Historical Society, down closer to the, I can't describe it exactly, it's usually where they end up parking when they're in Van Leer days, I think is where it is, if that helps. If you recall, when they get overcrowded, there's that empty lot there, I think that's where it's at.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, so he gave me a description and I prepared a deed. I prepared a quitclaim deed, Tucker, without any warranties on it, so it's not, won't put any liability on us in the future. If that's acceptable.
Is that directly in front of the historical building before you get to Route 302?
I think so, right in there, the way it's been explained to me, because they recently obtained another piece right beside it as well. I couldn't in good faith tell you exactly where it's at, Paul, because all I've got is a description calling for.
It's beside where Larry Walker's house was.
Yeah, it's right beside where Larry Walker used to live, but if that helps, it's, yeah, it's in that area. And this particular location already had plot maps on it. Lynn Street is part of it, LENS Street, and the Main Street Alley is one of the adjacent parcels or lines. This is the way Jim Trammell had prepared it. So I have a draft here for the court.
So you think everything is,
As long as we're just going to quit claim it, we're not going to give them any warranty deeds on it, so
okay?
that's what I did. And that's what we've done in the past.
I know we gave some property near that location a couple of years ago, the last one I remember, down along the edge of 302, I guess. You see no negative impact at all on the county?
No, sir. No, we're just a warrant, a quit claim deed, meaning we're not warranting titles on the property.
Is that it done? Okay, anybody have any other comments or questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court with regard to transferring that property to Van Leer Historical Society by Johnson County?
I move that we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Daniel to approve.
Second.
And a second by Darren, that's just a time. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I guess we can do that tomorrow, whatever. This is known as the Main Street Alley. I think I know the one we're talking about there. Thanks. Next item is the City of Paintsville. I'm sorry, we've got the Johnson County Firefighters Association first, and then the City of Paintsville. See these two guys around the floor.
Yeah. My name is Ronnie Robinson. This is Thomas Rice. I'm the president of the Johnson County Fire Association for right now. Edgar Pack, who is sitting in the back, he takes over in January. And we want to thank Judge Daniels, Commissioner Gamble, and Commissioner Paul Daniel for all the support that they have put forth to this association. They have set a mark up here for the next court to try to go on higher. But they have done great work for these fire departments because we struggled and we struggled. They put us in the county budget, $8,000 per year. But there's stipulations, there's rules we got to go by to earn that money. He just don't hand it out. We hand him back copies of receipts and checks where we have paid for what we said we got. And we turn it in every year. Well, you don't get no money next year. Forget it, which is good. You know, you got to have rules when you're passing out that much money that's taxpayer money. You got to account for it. And we've done our best, and we've stayed right there with him. And then on occasion, on cold severance, he's included us on that with the senior citizens, and we share. And one year we get maybe $3,000, but this year we got 2 different checks, one for 4, one for 6. That allowed us to buy another truck because we didn't know we was getting that money. We were planning on it by just saving ours, but they come up with it, and that really helped us to get a truck. And we've had these plaques made up, and each one says, in appreciation to R.T. Tucker Daniel, thank you for your continued support to the Johnson County Fire Departments of Johnson County and the Johnson County Fire and Rescue Association.
All y'all do for us.
Thanks, I appreciate you guys.
Judge, you think we could get a photo? Would you care?
I think you can. Thank you. Where you want us?
Can you join him up there?
Yeah, you guys just go up around
You
each
just go up
end.
there around and I'll get your picture.
Or whatever.
Want me to sit down, or you guys to sit down? Where are we going? Get over here. Oh, you get in here, let me outside. Good. We're gonna shake hands with you. Get up here. You get up there.
He's up here.
All right, there you go.
Let me get one more, a little bit closer.
Okay,
Got it.
thanks. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks again. We gotta go to another meeting.
Guys, we certainly appreciate it.
We just hoping some of the, and ones that's coming in would be in here to talk to them.
Well, maybe you can do that at another time. Certainly,
You don't want
certainly, anybody that understands the role the fire departments play. I've been amazed that ever since I first walked through the door, to realize that we've got, we had at that time 12, I guess, departments. And they didn't get paid. They scrambled and scratched for their money. They stopped cars on the streets and did anything they could to try to get enough money to pay the light bill at the station, or buy gasoline, or new equipment, turnout gear and stuff like that was really unexpected and unanticipated. And I see Regina back here right now tonight, who's played a great role in what they've been able to do, because we've had her kind of on a point for many years now of looking for grant money anywhere she can find it, and she's been very helpful in doing that, and every department we've got has benefited from that. And I am truly pleased that we've been able to do what we're doing. Just not being critical of anybody, but we have the closest paid department is Paintsville. What's our ISO?
What are you rated?
I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's 5.
They're rated at 5.
Okay, 4 or 5, whichever. And we've got 2 or 3 departments, don't we, that's like one level above?
One, yeah.
And when you realize they're doing that as volunteers, and how hard they have to struggle to find revenue, then God bless you guys for what you're doing. Because you really, you make this place a better place to live, and you certainly help transport, you help with any kind of rescue, first guys on the ground, with boots on the ground whenever we have a catastrophe, flooding, we got fatalities, we got rescue, we got all kinds of stuff, thanks to people like you. And you convey our heartfelt feelings to all the departments if you would. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir. Next item, City of Paintsville ambulance grant. These guys every year, especially every year, I guess, since we've had that
Yes, sir.
that grant funding in place, we made a decision many, many years ago that when we had other ambulance services in here, and they wanted to share in this money, but we didn't feel like, those were for-profit companies, and we just didn't feel like in the fiscal court that we ought to have for-profit competing against guys that are attached to local government, because we know how hard it is for governments to get revenue as well. So we've been dealing with them and helping them get this grant every year, and it's about $10,000 or $11,000, something like that. So now, having said that, you go ahead and bring it.
Yes, we gave you folks a packet, maybe you got to look at it, for the proposed equipment for this next cycle. You need me to read through those? Would you like for me to read through those?
Just, I think,
This equipment is pretty much just to replace either missing equipment that we've already used up, or some that's going to replace some of the aging equipment.
you talk about all 8 of these.
Yeah, we have long spine boards. That's like a usable resource. They turn up missing from time to time, and they do get worn out. We have some handheld pulse oximeters. That's to
measure your O2 saturation, carrying cases for those, thermometers, infrared, that's where that you don't have to necessarily make patient contact and read the temperature. Some oxygen cylinders, 3 of those. Emergency tool sets, those are for forcible entry. Sometimes our guys get called to residents that they can't make entry into with the key, it's locked. Those are tools to make entry with the least amount of damage possible. And portable scene lights, these are actually light plants that will, it can be used in any situation. It's handheld light that they can carry. It's a little bit bigger than a flashlight, but it's big enough to light up the whole accident scene as far as a vehicle over the hill or something of that nature. The total on these, of course, these are estimates, so it's $10,032, and of course the grant is usually $10,000.
And your portable lights or scene lights, is that the big bright stuff that you guys use?
These will stand about this tall though. They're, like I said, they're big enough that you wouldn't necessarily want to use them for a flashlight all the time, but you could.
Yeah.
They fold up to a size about this big, but they put out a lot of light for their size.
You guys in areas sometimes in situations where you need a lot of light.
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
Well, it's something, like I said, that we think is absolutely worthwhile, and we admire what you people are doing. And I've said it 100 times, and I keep hearing it on TV, so it must be true. Other people say the same thing. They don't understand why first responders are running into danger, and you got everybody else running out trying to get away. So you guys are a special breed. Appreciate everything you do and the risks you take on our behalf. So I'm very pleased to be able to recommend that we sign this grant application for you, and whatever else, Virginia, we might have to do, we'll do that if necessary. So, need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A motion from Kathy Adams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Daniel. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
You got somewhere I need to sign?
I think that's the only one that you need.
It's Regina, then I guess we should do that for you.
I think that's all we need.
What is today, 10?
It is, yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And we're about to wrap this thing up here right now. I've got Willard Burton here. I know, as I said earlier, that this is a probably the end of this term. I don't know that we'll be coming back for a special meeting. As we go out, I think it's important that people understand what is involved in county government and or city government, just any local government issues that you deal with. But when I came into office, those guys talked about what they didn't have, and I can absolutely say that I agree with them because I know what we inherited, and Addie knows what we inherited. We didn't have any money. We were $700,000 or $800,000 in debt, and we didn't know what we were going to do. But we set about trying to do the best we could, and we started getting our feet on the ground, and we did some things that kind of got us in trouble. There were some people that didn't pay taxes and hadn't paid taxes in 20 years, and some of them were extremely wealthy. So we went to Frankfurt and found out you can do certain things by attaching tax receipts and make sure that people that have tax bills pay their fair share. And we just kept building on that. And I think we had 4 lawsuits in the first year, maybe a year and a half, trying to do what was right about the county. And it took us a while, but we finally saw our way clear, could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm happy to tell you now that I remember the first week that I was in office, it snowed about like today. It didn't have a whole lot of snow, but we had some. And I went down to the road department just to see how we approach that. What do we do when we have snow? How do we clean it up? And I got to tell you, I was shocked when I walked in down there and we had no snow removal equipment, none. We had, well, I'll take it back, we had an old grader, wasn't it, Willard, about 30 or 40 years old. And we had a couple of old dump trucks. But we prevailed on that as well. And you go down there right now and it's like a transformation that has occurred. Right now we've got how many snow plows and salt spreaders?
We've got 8 trucks full of snow plowing and salt spreader, eight routes that can cover the county in a day's time.
So we can, normally we can take a snow in the morning and we can have the roads cleared, all the roads in Johnson County cleared a couple hundred miles by afternoon, that afternoon. It's not been easy and it's been expensive and we've done what we had to do and we've been very creative and made some contacts and knew where to go and we've done an excellent job. And I give all the credit in the world to my fiscal court who never missed a beat, who never rejected any good ideas if it was going to benefit the people of Johnson County. They had to buy into the program as well, and then we had to get our employees to understand we had an obligation, and we'd already cut our costs to the bone. And if you go down there right now, and Willard, if you would, I'd like for him just to kind of give you an idea. When I'm telling you what happened when we first got in office, and we didn't have anything, and then to go to to go to where we are now, and some of these numbers are going to shock you a little bit that he's got, but I'd like for him just to kind of, pretty quickly, Willard, if you can, give us an idea.
I'll give you all a copy of it. I'm not going into the detail that's in this, but I went into a little bit more detail in this part. And I'm not going to stand up here. I'll go back here and sit down. I feel more comfortable where I can sit here and read it. But basically, when I decided that I was going to retire at the end of December, I talked to the judge and I felt that I should give a little bit of a status report on things going on at the road department, in addition to some of the things that has to be done before I leave at the end of December. So basically, what I did was under item number 1, it covers all 3 of your existing memorandums that the fiscal court had passed on the blacktop. All the work's been done, the checks have been paid, everything's been turned in either to District 12 or to Frankfurt. One of them has been paid back and the other 2 are on their way, and that will amount to $380,039 going back into the county budget. Item number 2, we've got an open FEMA declaration that has started back in February, that under FEMA's new program that they have in place is still open and will not be closed out, will not go through the exit interview part till probably the last of January, 1st of February. So we're going to have 6 projects, and I've covered them here in the different stages that they are, and there's no sense going through all of them. But when they're all signed off on, unless they adjust the amounts a little bit, which they have been adjusting them some, you're looking at a minimum of $644,239.67. And I'm going to say that number probably gets closer to $700,000 by the time it's all finished out. But the problem is FEMA has a new program in place, which means I'm the one that does all the paperwork, being the applicant's agent. It's tied into my email address and it's tied into my password. Well, when I leave here at the end of the month, I have no more obligation to that and don't want to be able to access the system. So FEMA had some suggestions on how to do the changeover of getting everything into a secure location until the next applicant's agent is named and the next person takes over. Their recommendation was, since FEMA works hand in hand with emergency management, that we transfer it over to Gary McClure's email account, and Gary have a password, and Gary hold that information until the next applicant agent is named, and then FEMA will switch everything over to them. That will allow for me to be taken out of the system at the end of February, or at the end of December, and I won't be allowed to access the system, do anything in the system, and that will cover me as well as it will the exiting fiscal court, and then it'll transfer everything over to the next fiscal court. And that's going to be done the week between Christmas and New Year's. We'll have that in place. Item number 3 covers all, the main part of this disaster was drilled steel to fix brakes. 19 brakes. We just finished the 6th one. We have 4 more of them under contract with NATCO, which makes a total of 10. I'm going out with NATCO tomorrow to look at the final 9. We will do the site inspection on those. They will sign the contract, and the other 9 will all be in place under contract. So at the end of December, all 19 brakes will either be finished and paid for, under contract and working on them at the time, or with a future upcoming contract. So that'll all be tied up. Item number 4 covers all the road department material. By the time that we leave at the end of December, there will be plenty of stone, culverts, salt, coal patch, fuel, sand, every material that they need for daily operation, and I went into detail on that. Like the judge said, whenever we came in, we had very little in some areas. One example here is the culverts. I've ordered culverts, inventoried the culverts, anything from a 10-inch to a 48-inch. We've got 68 on the lot right now. So we're not leaving the cupboard bare, and that's part of what I was wanting to report on this. The solid waste management plan, it's in place. It was written by me in 2017, implemented by you guys in 2018. It goes all the way to 2022. I just did all the paperwork to update it for the new contract with Apple Valley that you guys put in place here in November. So everything's updated on that. Everything's good to go on that. The animal shelter, since the fiscal court owns the property, the county road going to the shelter is gravelled, all the parking area, the area behind the animal shelter, everything that they need for normal operation of that county-owned facility. The landfill, the road is worked to it. The leachate pumping schedule, everything that's done will be covered by me up until the time that I leave. As floodplain coordinator, all the documents relating to floodplain are at the credens at my office or on the files on my computer. They'll everyone be in place at that location. And item number 9, which is some miscellaneous things. With my job, I never know with snow or anything like that, but my plans are, my last normal schedule is Friday the 28th, and I'll be leaving at 4 o'clock. But I'll be turning in my work truck on that day. I'm going to have Maggers take me out of the security system for the garage. I'll turn over all my keys to the office manager down there. They'll have everything in place. But I will still be working that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday the 31st if we have a snow or anything like that. I've made arrangements with a co-worker to bring me to work, and then I'll just sign the truck out and do it like normal. So technically I will leave on December the 31st at midnight. But everything will be in place to run everything up till then. And, you know, I've went into a whole lot more detail here and covered all the other stuff. But I felt that after I talked to Tucker, with me leaving and the different things that I'm involved with, I didn't want to walk out the door with nobody knowing what was going on. So I detailed this year, had him put me on the agenda, provide them a copy. You can put it in with your minutes to the court meeting, and there will always be a permanent record of what was done to facilitate the change of administration.
Thanks, Willard. I just wanted to give you a little update as to what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I got to say that I'm very proud of what we've done and what we continue to do. And, you know, you hear some people around town from time to time say, well, I don't believe we did that. Well, I tell you, we're not magicians, but we know how to run county government, and we've done the very best job we can do, and the results are there for everybody to see. And anybody's got any questions, we'd be more than happy for them to come by and see us in the office before we leave. But I can't leave tonight without telling people how much it's meant to me. I didn't have any idea I was going to end up as county judge, and I had no interest in politics, and most of you have heard that 100 times. It's true. But we got here somehow, and some reason why. My grandmother used to say, there's a plan for everybody, and I think she probably was right. But sometimes things seem to work, and sometimes they don't. And my wife and I thought I had retired after working at Kentucky West Virginia Gas Company, and then I ended up here for a number of years. But you can look back and see where we've been and where we are now, and realize that the next people coming in, the next group, we got Commissioner Adams is the only one that's returning here, and she's been here and she can understand what we're talking about and how passionate we are and have been. And I know there hardly days go by that somebody in this group is not calling the office and asking questions or talking to the road department to try to find out, is there anything going on, or to report a problem with something out in the county. And we've learned a lot, we've struggled a lot, and it took us a while to get our running shoes on, I guess, but we're very pleased and very proud to have been able to do what we've done. It's not been easy sometimes, but and it's not a tangible thing. It's not like a job where you can go home at night and turn around and look back and say, well, we built a house today, or we cut trees today, or we did this, or we did that. When you're working in public service, sometimes you can't tell when you go home at night exactly what you've done. You don't really know until you've had a chance to kind of chew on it and nibble on it a little bit to figure that out. But I'm very pleased to have served. It's an honor for me to have served as a judge executive in Johnson County. I just am so thankful that the people of the county gave me the opportunity to do this. I think, hopefully, I know I'm a better person for it, and I hope that the county population as a whole is better for it. We've tried the very best we could do. We're not perfect, and nobody is, to my knowledge. But it's been an honor for me, and I look forward to maintaining residents here in Johnson County, and hopefully see the trucks coming by every now and then with a snowplow on it if it's snowing.
Somebody other than me making that decision, Judge.
But
I'll be sitting in the same place. I'll be at Flat Gap watching for the same thing to happen.
But thank everybody for letting me do this for as long as you did, but we're not leaving, we're still going to be around. So stop by and say hello. That's all I've got. You guys want
Well,
Aaron?
not to repeat everything Tucker just said, but it's truly been a pleasure and an honor to serve as your commissioner for the past 12 years. I said it before and I'll say it again. I love Johnson County. I love the people of Johnson County. And even though I'm not in office, I'll still continue to do everything I can to make this a better place to live and raise your families. So again, thanks to all the voters and supporters we've had over the past 12 years.
Paul?
I'd like to say it's been an honor and a privilege for me to serve as commissioner for the past 12 years. When I started on this journey, I made two promises. That to do the job to the best of my ability and do it honest. And I'd like to say that I've strived to do that for the whole 12 years. We've accomplished a lot of things. There's things that we didn't get accomplished that we would like to have seen accomplished. We've got things on the table that's still being worked on, and I hope that the incoming court will continue those projects. And again, it's just been an honor and privilege to serve the citizens of Johnson County. Thank you very much.
good?
Yeah, we need to go back to item 6. We need
Yeah.
to complete that.
Item 6 was on the amendment on the sheriff's budget.
Item 5.
Pardon?
Item 5.
Item 5, I'm sorry, you're right. I normally would request at least some more information what is involved here. Not because there's anything wrong, but because we get audited as well as anybody else in this courthouse or any other office. And we get asked questions a lot of times about, well, what's this for, what's this for, what's this for? And sometimes we can answer those questions, sometimes we can't. So if our role as caretaker, if you will, of fee pooling officer, Sally Ann has done a wonderful job at the clerk's office down there, and so she understands this thing, and the sheriff's office understands what it means as well. But we do need basic information, and I think when you're dealing with several $1,000s of taxpayers' money, I don't care what you're spending it on. I think that we need more than just vehicles, $7,600. How many vehicles? What are they worth? You know, that's basic information. So, having said that, I would recommend that we go ahead, last time, the chance of the year, to have the meeting, and I don't want to call these people back unless it's an absolute emergency. I'd like to recommend a motion that we approve the item 5 and the amendment for the sheriff's office. But Addie, I'd like for you to call their financial gal down there tomorrow and ask those questions. How many vehicles we're talking about? How much did you get for them? How much? I mean, how many of them did you sell, etc. So if you can do that, then I'll recommend that we adopt that. But I need a motion in fact.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Adams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Daniel. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Regina, is Gary, is he kind of tied up? Or?
He's on his way back from Frankfurt. He had a meeting.
Uh-oh. And they're rubbing elbows in the snow, I guess.
Is that transfers from
Pardon?
the CLEF and the school resource and the?
Yeah, it's all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. We have Gary's packet behind us there, all the items that he's been involved with. He's about like Willard. He's about to report him to death, I think. And he's training a lot, but tell him we appreciate everything he does, Regina, and like to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Took one other thing. One other thing,
What's that?
with Kathy.
Oh, well, what do you want to do?
Should go ahead and do that.
Hmm?
Think we should go ahead and do that.
Well,
Situation is arose that, from what we understand, Tucker is going to be leaving office on December 31st. And it's going to be a period of time before the new judge is sworn in. So in order to cover that, we need to appoint a temporary judge to serve during that time. And the only one that's left on the court is Kathy Adams. So be my recommendation, we appoint her to serve as temporary judge until such time as the judge is, newly elected judge is sworn in.
I'll second the motion.
Mike, is that something that we need in our hand to look at? Is it something that we can do? Take what he means or what he says. I think Rich Ornstein has got some information, maybe even some kind of ordinance or something to go by. Is that something we need to do? Can we do, can he make the motion?
I
Continue,
thought
continue.
that we had the ability, and Judge, you guys have caught me off guard on this one. This one's completely, I didn't know this was coming. Do you have the authority to appoint a county judge executive? And are you resigning at the end of December 31st? Because your term technically doesn't end until January 6th.
I'm out of here on December 31st. I've already signed your papers.
Are you resigning?
I'm resigning I'm retiring. I'm not resigning, I'm retiring.
Okay, well, I mean, you're leaving officially
I'm leaving officially.
week-
It's already, as I said, it's already documented.
a week ahead of time.
Yep,
So then that leaves a vacancy.
yep.
So who normally appoints on a
It
vacancy?
may leave a vacancy. It may leave a vacancy. And the only other way that I know that you can do it, is probably have two of the commissioners that are gonna be here. And Kathy's already gonna be here. So have the other two have a special meeting and declare a special meeting and declare that this situation exists, and it may or may not be necessary for that person to act. But no, to answer your question emphatically, no, I'm not resigning. I'm retiring.
Okay,
And I can retire anytime I want to.
I agree.
So,
So the
just
question
want to
is,
make that point clear.
so the question is, who has the authority to appoint her?
Hey, I'm not county judge after the 31st, I don't know.
Well, under normal circumstances, who would appoint county judge?
Well, you know, if you have a county judge vacancy, the only person I know that can appoint one is the governor.
That's what I
So
thought.
these people are gonna have to do that and notify the governor that the office is vacant. And have him appoint somebody. Now, is, do you think he's gonna appoint somebody in 4 or 5 days? I don't know. I kinda doubt it.
Wasn't there a provision or a statute that allowed for someone to act on behalf of the judge, county, or pro tem as it would be in the event of unavailability? But we never did designate one in this last term. We did not designate one, but there is a statute that provides for that, isn't there?
I'm not the lawyer, but if you tell me there's a statute, I'd say show it to me and,
You're gonna have to give me some time to think
I'll
about
read
it.
it.
You're gonna have to give me some time to think about this one, Judge. You caught me completely off guard. I was under the impression that any vacancies had to be filled by the governor.
It does. But the court can declare a vacancy that I'm gone, adios, and that they have a vacancy in Johnson County and notify the governor's office, and I guess it'll go from there. But like I said, it's asking the governor to have a turnaround time pretty quick, so. And this is not an issue, this has been discussed by several counties already.
I'm sure it has, but
And
what did they come up with? Because
I don't know, I'm almost retired and I'm trying not to go in and get any more of those, questions than I have to.
well, I need some time to think about this one.
Well, think fast if you would.
I'll think fast, but I
Think
don't,
before,
I can think before, between now and close of
think
business.
before December the 31st.
All right, sir. I'll look into it and send you a written letter.
And you know, it's New Year's Eve, isn't it?
31st, yeah.
Does Cash play football?
New Year's Day.
January
New
1st.
Year's Day. Oh, that's in Florida, isn't it? Well, I mean, I don't know what you need to, or who you need to talk to, or who you need to look at, but.
I will look into it for you. Had you told me about this beforehand, I'm not.
Well, I was told that you knew about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Seriously,
Never told me this.
nobody talked to you about that?
No, sir.
Wow,
Did you make a motion? Is there a
somebody
motion on the floor?
knew something about it.
It's like,
I don't know. Still looking at me.
I don't know. Is there a motion on the floor?
They had a brouhaha, I think in Frankfurt with some disagreements between CAECO and disagreements between DLG as to what creates a vacancy and what doesn't. And I was sworn the county attorney association was, I would have thought would been involved in it.
Well, they might have, but they didn't send me anything.
So where we got a motion on the floor right now, where we stand with that?
Well, we're still debating here. Mike thinks that there has to be something else.
Well, you're only talking a week. I don't know, honestly.
I just looked at somebody that we needed, in case we had an emergency of some kind, somebody needed to be in charge.
What about you and Darren? Are you guys quitting early, or are you gonna stick till the 6th? Are you gonna stick it out to the 6th?
Depends on what they tell me on my retirement.
So
Are you
you're gonna
going
leave-
out, you scheduled to go out to 31st too, Paul?
My retirement's supposed to start January 1st.
So you're leaving as well?
If I
I mean,
have,
the Constitution says that you leave on the first Monday in January, after the election, correct? That's what it says.
That's the term of office.
That's the term of office, that's what it says.
Now, did you read that recently, or when?
We read that very recently. We contacted the Department of Local Board of Elections. They sent us the schedule. We did that for the reason for determine when the bonds need to be signed for the incoming candidates, elected officials, and that's bonds in place before then. And by the way, editing has been kind enough to help us with that. But that's what the Constitution says, the first Monday in January after the election.
So what did they tell you at that time that the term of office was it?
That's when your term ends. So,
No, my term ends when I retire.
I meant by statute if you didn't
Yeah.
retire ahead of time. Isn't that correct, Ms.
I don't know, me.
Sally and I went, we looked that up because that's what it
The
said.
PVA's term starts the first December, the first of December after the election. First day of the year is for like the Senate and some of the state offices, and then the first Monday in January is when the term of office for the county officials starts.
Do they pay for that length of time?
That's a good question, Judge.
I don't think
It's
they
my
do.
understanding they do not.
I don't think they
you
do.
know,
My understanding is they do not. That is according to, I want to say Rich Ornstein sent an email.
Well, I think Rich and ELG's had some discussion.
And I haven't spoken to DLG. So I guess the first thing we need to know is if the other two commissioners are quitting or resigning, retiring on December 31st, or are they going to finish till January 6th? So do we have a full
That's-
body for the?
Only they can
this one?
answer that.
Are they gonna answer us tonight, or for us to get some more information together?
Oh, Lord, well, I'll be around.
You're gonna stay till the 6th?
Said I'm not retiring, these gentlemen are retiring.
What about you, Paul?
I'll let you know.
He's retiring on the 31st. His last official.
So he's gonna let us know.
I'll talk to the retirement board and see what they tell me.
So what do you want to do with the motion on the table?
I'll withdraw the motion if it's not.
You want to table it, the item until,
I'll give you an answer before the end of the week, or what I think, anyway, for what it's worth.
okay, you might want to call Rich or some of those guys.
I'll make some calls, I'll talk.
There's been a boatload of discussion.
I guarantee there has, because I understand it's been going around. I'll even send out an email to the County Judges Association, or the County Attorney Association.
You guys want to table a motion? What's your pleasure to the court?
Table motion.
Okay, I need a motion to table this issue of appointment of a special, or an interim county judge executive pending,
Clarification.
pardon?
Pending clarification.
Yeah, pending clarification from Franklin.
Second.
Got a table, or motion by Paul, and second by Darren. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Anybody got anything else they'd like to bring before the county at this time, please?
I do have one thing I'd like to say, Judge, before we leave. I've been a county employee for 33 years. I want to take this opportunity. The first 13 years I worked for the county, I had no retirement. And when you took office, you took the battle on. You went to Frankfurt. You did everything you needed to do to put the retirement system in place. If it wasn't for the work you did, I would not be able to retire at the end of the month like I am. I want to publicly say I appreciate what you did, and thank you very much.
I appreciate that, Willard, and having said that, you know, I don't think I let that bother me when I was first sworn in. I don't think I planned all these years later down the road to say, well, I'm gonna retire under that pension plan and get out of here before the temporary job's filled. So, but I appreciate your kind words. Any other comments?
Judge, I just want to second what the fireman has said and appreciate the court, your time, and I think it is time for you and the missus to enjoy yourself. You put this county first for so long, and I personally appreciate you and Paul and Darren, and I just want to say Merry Christmas to you guys.
Thanks, man, appreciate it. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion? Second, all in favor? We're out of here.